We have 1 minute. Mr. Clerk, you may be starting.
Alright. Looks like we started. Call the meeting in order with roll call.
Grant here.
Imper here.
Wall here.
Erickson here.
Warner here. Erickson here. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Some filling in for Tom here. Our truth and taxation presentation.
This is a presentation that was created by Ellers. Basically going over what our finances look like this past year to include our levies. Some of these slides I'm gonna go through quick, they're just explanatory again. I put them in there so that the public has access to the kind of system. So by law, we have to have a truth and taxation meeting every year between November 25th and December 29th, so we can talk about taxes and certify the final levy. It has to start at 6 p.m. or later. It's talking about the current budget year, proposed property taxes. Basically, the layout of how we do our meeting. And go through, talks about the law, the precedent. There's a lot of discussion about the funding formula, even though we looked at last year 2% and then a 2.75% this year. It lags with inflation, so we are several $1,000s behind per student. If we look at the inflationary gap, the legislature did promise a match of up to 3% for inflation offset. And that will only be through fiscal year 26, which is this year. Underfunding of special education, we have what we call a cross subsidy. What that means is we do get special education funding, but it doesn't match needs. So we do have to pull from general funds for a lot of those expenses. We have 5 basic funds. General fund, which is what we pay the majority of our operating costs out of. Food service, only that's restricted, only goes to food service. Community service, restricted as well. Building construction, debt service, all restricted funds. So district revenues, this is fiscal year beginning and ending. Total all funds, you can see we ended the year with a small surplus of a little over $100,000. A lot of that is in restricted costs. You can see the building construction is still over by 1.9 million. This shows where the majority of those funds are allocated for 2025, 2026. Majority of it is in the general fund. A lot of that has to do with salaries and benefits, some building costs for maintaining facilities. The general fund revenue, state, the majority of our funding comes from the state. You can see that 1.1 million from local taxes and the federal taxes. The majority of that is our title funding and some other minor federal funding. General fund expenditures, there you can see salaries and wages take up 56%. Employee benefits another 18%, and then purchase services, that would be any outside services used in co-op, different things like that. Broken down a little bit more, general fund expenditures there. You see regular instruction takes the majority of it, special ed, and then you can see around the wheel there how it's kind of broken out. Change in tax law does not determine change in budget. Levy is based on state determined formulas plus voter approved referendum. So what we get from the state usually offsets any increase in property taxes. This year we didn't see much, and I've heard a few people say there's been a decrease in property taxes allocated to the school district. Difference in levy cycle. So here's the big thing. Our fiscal year goes from July 1st to June 30th, whereas a typical municipality is January 1st through December 30th. Also, we have the majority of our budget is voter approved, whereas our county can just pass a levy without that, and they have constraints on it. It can only be so amount of an increase, but they don't need voter approval for that. They also aren't required to do a truth in taxation meeting like a school district is. It's just showing what a typical property tax statement is per year. Limited authority to levy taxes. The majority of them are voter approved, and we calculate levy amounts for various categories. Some are set by MDE. So there are some non-voter approved categories like LTFM, for instance. That used to be directly from the state. Then LTFM was shifted to a levy and a non-voter approved one. Same thing with local optional revenue. Those are things that were granted by the state no longer. So just, this is kind of the process we go through, but tonight we're at setting the levy, and then we'll approve it. Once we approve it, I'll submit that to MDE tomorrow, and then it goes to the county auditors. Same thing. Process we went through in September, we did the initial levy, and then after the initial levy, we waited for the state to recalculate what that final levy amount would be, and there we have. Proposed payable 2026 tax levy is a decrease from 2025 of nearly 2%. Including the following labels, and I think the majority of it is because of decrease in valuation. So as you can see there at the bottom, truth and taxation category, we have a decrease in voter approved. Again, that's attributed mostly to decrease in valuation of property. We see across the board though, we do have a decrease in all of our levy amounts. Look at community service, that's a big decrease of 22%. So general fund, voter approved operating, referendum, and local optional revenue. Those are the two that we get primarily from, well, we know about the operating levy. Local optional revenue is one that's set by the board every year. That's $242 per student. You see, we have voter approved and local optional revenue changes. Majority of those go to our operating funds, all in that Fund 1 or our general fund. Prior adjustments, minus $43,000 there. Various reasons. Initial levies are based on estimates, and later years amounts are updated and levies are retroactively adjusted. So you see an adjustment down there of $43,000. Levy changes, debt service. We know that we have a debt service payment coming up here very soon. It's gonna be about $1.8 million. Hopefully it stays that, and because of the levies that we have coming in for debt service, we'll just have enough at that time to pay that off. It'll be about February timeframe. Change in value of individual property, change in total value of all property within the district, increase or decrease in levy amounts. And you see, we do have some factors that are impacting individual taxpayers' school taxes. One of those, of course, is the referendum. Just a couple things here. It's an explanation how we look at two different properties, same valuation, the amount they may pay, and these are fictitious amounts just to give you an idea. But when the difference in the values of those properties change, the change in the amount each taxpayer pays gets offset between, like valuation goes up in one property, they're gonna pay more, but that decreases the valuation of a cheaper property, a less expensive property. Comparison, so see year over year, school district comparison, residential homestead, 75,000. steadily decreased over the last several years. Commercial, same thing, so we've seen decreases pretty much across the board. Commercial typically takes the biggest hit when we look at taxes, especially referendums, because it's a flow and different tax rate on their property and the value of that property because of the profit margin. Changing in school property taxes 2022 to 2026, you can see we've had a decrease over the years. Good fluctuation there between homestead and commercial. An estimated change in property taxes since 2023. Agriculture has gone down consistently in a pretty good amount. So cost per $150,000 household, $250,000 commercial. So that's on average what your yearly tax payments would be to the school district. Yeah, we're gonna see a decrease between 2025 and 2026. A lot of things affect property taxes, homestead credit, property tax refunds, any increase over 12%. So refund the senior citizen property tax deferment and itemized deductions. So next steps, we accept public comments, and then after the truth taxation meeting, once we adjourn and go into regular meeting, the first items to approve is the final levy. So at this time, if there are any public comments, and if you'd like to speak, you just address the board, say who you are, and
Yeah, I don't necessarily. I looked at your presentation, well, I'm Glenn Graffer.
Yep.
But and I knew most of what was on that presentation, and one of my questions I've got is the difference between some numbers between like there's between the sheets that you've got there and the ones that for your regular board meeting following this,
is there one in particular?
the amount that you've got listed for the construction shortfall number,
Yes.
there's one place you've got that it's over $2 million short. And the one that you had in this presentation is $1,918,000. And one that's gonna be at your next meeting, your cash reports, it's got construction at 1.131 million short.
I can't explain why. I can let you know that right now, when this presentation was, and I got this last Friday, that's what the estimate was as far as the building construction budget shortfall. The amount that is still owed to our contractors and the amount that the cash pool deficit in the construction fund are different numbers. So the amount that's still owed to contractors is around just under 900,000. I can give you exact numbers later. As a matter of fact, if you have time, you wanna come by tomorrow, I can grab some more numbers and give to you. But this is the estimated cash pool deficit in that fund.
But then getting back to your comment, or the one slide showed that the agricultural taxes have went down.
Yes.
my tax bill has went up,
Right, and I would say that's an overall across the district boundaries.
but it's misleading the way you're presenting it. And I realize that this, I believe this was put together by Eilers. Or did you put this together?
I did
or-
not, no. So it means the decrease is the amount of revenue we take in through agricultural taxes across the district, not any particular one person. So I can understand your point for sure. So some land valuations may have gone up, some may have gone down. I don't know the particular reasons why there would be changes like that. One of the main changes in tax revenue, when it decreases, is a decrease in property valuation.
The biggest reason is the shift of most of our land has shifted from homestead to non-homestead. The tax rates, your chart is right for the tax rate, but the individual ag taxpayer is paying more because we've got a higher percentage of our land is in non-homesteaded taxes. So our total bill is higher, considerably higher. I couldn't find my numbers for, I go back and look at these things and I couldn't find my sheets for 26. But the difference in my out-of-pocket for the school district between 24 and 25, I had an 18% increase in my property taxes that went just for Red Rock School.
Ag taxes.
Pardon?
Ag taxes or homestead, ag taxes.
Yes,
Okay.
well, it would include we've got some houses in that too, but my total property tax that went to Red Rock went up by 18%.
Okay, gotcha.
To go on that form there, does it separate us from the building versus operating, is that lumped together? The
It's-
operating levy or?
It's voter approved and other local levies.
So that could be part of it, cause when I was looking at mine too, I was like, cause we did something wrong, but it'd be nice to have that as which was for the building and which is for the operating, they kinda get blended together, when I was seeing these numbers too, I was thinking the same, but we don't get them separated, so the operating that you're going down, maybe it's the building that's putting it up. Because we're moving those dollars around too, as land values change and, you know, cause you got two different levies we're dealing with. But we're only approving the one right now, but on our tax, what he's reading there, all of our voter approved stuff is getting mixed together.
And it would,
So
that's not
to
something
Glenn's
the
point, we
school
can't
would
really
control.
see which one's which,
Well,
to see if it's matching.
So my old property tax statement would split it out, it was Becker County, it would split it out.
Line by line, or levy by levy.
It would have the total amount and then split it, not levy by levy, but what was going to the district and for what. I think we had a building levy as well on, so it showed what was going to that. County, same thing, whatever county tax where it showed what it was going to. If we had an increase, it showed what it was going to, so I don't know.
We just can't see.
one
it
other
on that one.
question that on your slide, you had that the levy was gonna go down 2%? Or
You tell me which slide.
towards the end of your
Okay.
presentation.
There,
Go back up one, I think it was. Yeah, the proposed payable tax levy is a decrease from 25 up 2%. Is that of the levy, the levy is going down 2%, or the tax dollars collected is gonna go down 2%?
I believe it's tax dollars collected.
That's what it looks like,
And that's overall tax dollars collected is going down by 2%.
71,000.
And that's where it shows where the difference is. Anything else? You sure? You can come talk to me anytime. If you need to find more numbers, I can do that as well. Thanks, Doug.
I have to keep going now.
You own position on Nate.
Better get you caught up where we're at. So that'd be the presentation, and you sure no more questions? If you didn't get anything, come talk to me. So after that, I'll just show a few things on here too, just shows where we are in comparison to other districts in our area. As far as revenue and expenses are concerned, per ADM is the cost it takes us to educate the average student. You see we're about in the middle, a little on the higher side of the middle. Expenditures per ADM, which is average daily membership, we're towards the higher end there. And then you just kind of see unassigned, undesignated, unassigned fund balances percentage, and as you can see, that's gone down year over year. And tremendously this last school year. You see voter approved levies there. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the bond, the referendum.
So why don't they separate that for us, so we can actually see which one's which? You know, it'd be kinda nice to be able to see the building versus our
I could get that from others. But property taxes payable on a home of 200,000, we're actually on the low end. So if you look in our region, see Comfrey and Tracy are the only two lower than us in our area. And that's it.
So we're good? Alright, we'll call for an adjournment then on this. 6:22, and we can move on to the next. You can take over.
So we'll wait, start at 6:30, but I'll leave the stream going.
We can't start till 6:30.
What's that?
We can't start till 6:30. Oh. Well,
Only because we may have people that prepare.
Planning.
Let's make the next meeting go quicker than the schedule, huh? Take note, Nate. Way to run the
I
meeting
think it's
quickly.
interesting on that slide that shows all of the schools that that ten of the
I
schools
see it,
have
I
done
do everything
that are the
together,
lowest of
so
both then
you don't know
building
what
projects.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, you can tell
basically,
the schools,
because I look at that and I go,
So that
well,
includes us.
what's
Talk about
what here?
I'm
what our-
talking about
Right.
this one.
You know, separate, and you see which one's
And-
the increases.
And Mountain Lake,
That's this year too.
both are the two
We had some
schools that have been building projects and both low.
And the lowest values went down a lot.
Nobody else has. How does Lake Benton have 128%?
Crap.
I don't know.
Close to that.
Who picked those schools that you compared to?
We just go through,
Area,
yeah, we just go through, our financial advisor, Ellers, and they just pick schools in the area.
I just thought it was funny that Springfield and Wabasso aren't
On
on
there.
there, they're in the area. And I don't think you'd like to compare numbers with Springfield
You think we're higher or lower?
higher.
I hadn't seen you in a while, so I'm gonna shake your hand. Last time we chatted, you put me on the spot too. Hopefully. You can come sit. We're done with truth and taxation.
And have a migraine. I took some Tylenol and a bunch of water.
I have similar.
And I was on the way up in the.
Oh, I
I'm gonna be here
was
by
like
6.
thinking you were in the ditch or
No.
rolled your car or something.
Yeah, I made good time after I.
It's always that's why my kid has to be on 360, cause that's 12:30, you're not in my house and I'll start asking questions.
I don't know if I text you and you don't text me back. I had two of my sons went to another son's apartment, because we hadn't heard from him.
Yeah,
He's like, I just wanted you left alone for a day. Leave me alone.
just text that. Austin was halfway home from Walnut Grove one day, was going 0 miles an hour and I'm like, either he rolled or something, doesn't matter, he's pulled over. Something got him pulled. Just had to stop and go potty on the side of the road. You know, I get the alert when he leaves or gets somewhere, so I'm like,
Tuesdays of the game.
Lisa's done.
Freak you out when you're on
he did get pulled over in Illinois the other day.
The Long Grove Cop?
11 o'clock at night, right there on the railroad track.
What do they even have?
I have no idea, but his tabs were expired.
I have two, since November.
His too, since
So we
November.
just get
You didn't put that, I'm like, we're 18 now.
I bought mine yesterday, but.
I bought mine too. Yesterday, actually.
How long did it take to put them on? That's
Gosh, yeah, it's.
I didn't think they could pull you over anymore for just expired.
So when we were moving out to Kenmare, no, we were moving back farther from Kenmare. Got pulled over, state going to Kenmare. And this is like half an hour,
So.
and mine's like,
Yeah, I
okay,
agree that we.
what are we told them, so your tax was by a year?
Oh my.
Oh my gosh, well, I knew it from somewhere. It was the weirdest conversation, I kept saying, you like this truck? What year is it? I'm like, you like this truck? I'm like, why are you asking these weird questions?
Yeah, maybe you're right.
The fire department too,
Troy,
gotta pay it.
Troy, you can opt in. You, as an independent, you can opt in and pay in.
I got told the state the other day, because I think we have a bad connection, and I'm stating the facts, I think we got a bad connection. I'll tell you guys something, it's old.
Oh yeah, perfect, awesome, thank you, I forgot about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Driven my covered wagon.
I will not, I'll be staying home this winter. I told Christy that
Go get it,
Anything else to say?
to pick up the slack. and
Check the
just-
box.
Check the box. Yeah, that would be.
Oh,
That is-
I just talked to him every day, I was like, are we in the booth? He's like, I don't have to go back, I have to go back to the doctor, so it's just been
Anything you're boarded off on the road, you guys are paying.
No, but you're working from someone to stay home.
I don't know the other day, to see what the government.
Hey,
Someone.
wonder if you get voted off the board, you can collect unemployment. Can you file unemployment if you get voted off the board?
I don't think so, no.
I don't wanna find out.
Because no, because they're checked exempt from.
They did it.
I've seen some, I've seen some, yeah, I've seen some unemployment approved that I know.
They are claimed under unemployment.
Would have done that, you know,
Never utilized
Exempt.
it.
so they didn't do that.
You get a payout at the end.
Yeah.
It should take us the pay
Like so.
raise.
This screen, this
They
screen.
just always know. They just said, like, just never like, tolerate it as you can.
and stuff.
You could tell he was
They'll
paying
run it one year and be like, oh, that costs more than we thought.
School stuff, cleaned it up on paper. Something, I must have, I feel bad for sheets, they hired,
Corporations, employees that can't.
But some things are out of our.
That is quite the
Office.
thing.
Yeah.
They have to
It's just a
again,
weird,
they can't do
really
it.
weird injury. It's not even an injury.
Okay, all those student workers still have.
Alright. Hit it.
Yeah, they're just waiting for it to go to 6:30. There. Call to order. Can we start with our roll call?
Erickson here. Grant here.
Imker here.
Keel here.
All here.
Erickson here.
Warner here.
Alright. You guys did the pledge earlier, should we stand with
We
it
did.
We
again?
did that.
Alright. So if you look through our agenda, we have a motion for approval of our agenda.
So moved.
Nate? We have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Megan. All in favor, approve our agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign, motion carries, approve the agenda. We'll move into our public comment time. We have our guidelines for our public comment. School board meetings are held to conduct official business. Open to the public, they are not public forums. We welcome community input during a designated 30-minute public comment period. We remind each speaker you have 3 minutes and must state your name and address and topic. Remain respectful. We require respectful communication. Personal, disparaging, or inappropriate remarks against anyone will not be tolerated. Board members and administrators do not respond during public comment, though these topics may be considered for future agenda. Thank you for your cooperation and support for our schools and communities. If we have anybody for public comment? Seeing none, I guess we can move forward with if there's any board reports. And we can move forward to our staff reports now, and I know we wanna start with our business manager. Stacy, you can take the floor.
Okay, this last month, we had $115,427.92 in board claims, and of that, the general fund, of those claims in the general fund was $91,784.13. Our food service, our food and nutrition fund claims were $23,415.15. Community was $228.64. And then we also had receipts for the general fund of $667,059.36. Our food and nutrition receipts were $51,974.53. Community was $9,310.01. Our construction fund was $229,035.75. And the student activity fund had receipts of $3,088.68. Just a comment on that, well, the total was $960,468.33. And of those, we did have some of the tax levy, like that would be your construction, some of the general funds, the food, various things like that were also, a lot of it is in our liquid assets fund. Let's see, the between board claims,
Stacy, so you're saying that that's Fund 7 at 229, that's just
that
levy?
came from levy, yeah. Yeah.
For the building, okay.
Absolutely, yep. And you'll see that on the report that says something about receipt listing with detail. That will give you, in one of the liquid assets receipts on that report, will give you the full detail of the different funds that went to. Another fund from liquid assets is an O2 fund, which is our food and nutrition. And that is, it might say like /clicks, that's all the money that we get in from the state for the free meals that we get reimbursed for. In addition, there will also be like the people, anyone who's paid for a la carte, those are also receipts, money coming in, and those are in that total. So if you need a breakdown on anything, or not sure what one of those mean, you just have to let me know. Between board claims, the district had 351,697.65. And now when I say the between board claims, don't forget that includes payroll plus all the insurances of every possibility is in that, so it's not just, expenditures for the building itself. Then we have our balances in the liquid assets is 1,949,736.88, and that is going to be spent down very quickly. We just got the bill our debt payment that is due, and it pretty much wipes out almost that entire thing, pretty close. The finance account, which is at First Security, the balance, which also has outstanding checks in it, but right now the balance sits at $420,493.63 with many outstanding checks that haven't come through yet. Savings is at $102,197.02. The elementary account is at $5,614.28. That actually just had one outstanding check in it. And student activities had $137,590.60 with just a few outstanding checks as well. The final total of the November payroll totaled $373,084.66. And the other thing to note about the receipts, that's always from the month before, not this month.
Looking through Jordan's report, if you look at the pie chart here, where we're talking about, just as we talked about in our last meeting, the construction deficit, it'll show it right there, it's 1.1 million. Just a couple things I'd like to go through. Our unassigned general fund balance is higher again, so we had I can't remember how much of an increase, but a pretty healthy increase to the general unassigned, but as Stacy said, we have a pretty big bill coming out with debt service, so cash flow is going to be pretty low for at least a couple months after that.
Concerning, like, are we gonna have to utilize that?
I think if our expenditures stay low for the building itself, I think, and just even not being, like, we've been very frugal on expenses that people have been wanting. If we just keep continuing with that, just for the regular expenditures instead of.
The building should be sold by then too, so that should help a little bit.
Yep.
When it was projected back in probably July with Ellers, even though we have that low cash flow and this is what they recommended with the line of credit, they felt we wouldn't need to. I mean,
Okay.
it'll just be a couple tight months.
It'll just, yep,
And as you can see on this one, we're almost halfway through the year right now. We've expended 33.9% of our budget, so we're doing very well.
and when we get our state aid, we'll still have state aid coming in, and that will help, to cover all the payroll and different things like that.
Will that come in before or after that debt payment?
It will come in, we'll have one we usually have one, we should have one in January and one in February.
Okay.
Which will offset potentially, hopefully 3 payrolls, we'll see.
Question on our fund balance, we've gone through the truth of taxation, it's showing our fund balance was about $111,000 last year. I thought we were gonna be chance being statutory operating debt, or is that different than what,
That's different, so that was projected for the end of this year.
that was for this coming year, that was
Yes.
for last year?
Yep, that was projected for the end of fiscal year 26 versus the fiscal year we're in now.
Okay,
Looking at statutory operating debt, And we'll actually have the auditors present in January. They'll show that the only thing that will throw us in statutory operating debt would really be that construction fund deficit. I have Ellers presenting at our January work session about a strategy for getting out of that. So that might even defray statutory operating debt altogether,
Well, we couldn't possibly bypass that then.
yes.
Okay. Good news.
Fingers crossed.
The best news is if we went to statutory operating debt, it would be for 1 year. We already have a plan in place, which is the requirement by the state, is to develop a plan, multi-year plan. But the statutory operating debt is from the cause of one instance rather than the entire budget cycle. So once we isolate that issue, the construction budget, the construction fund, and correct that, our projection for cash flow, from that point forward is good. So we'd already be out of, even if we went to statutory operating debt, we'd already be out of it with the plan.
That's a good light.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna need to touch any savings, and that's good.
Yeah, I don't think we will. We'll see
Okay.
how things keep.
You just keep that for what it's meant for, just to.
I have to say our staff's done very good about, the majority of the requests are just needed, and it's just so we get through this period of time. When we look at budget creation for next year, I'm sure it'll look much different.
Yeah.
So we'll have that hanging over our heads.
Appreciate the staff and everybody for, I guess, digging their heels in to cut the costs. Any other questions anybody sees for Stacy? Or regarding our finance reports? You did a good job of going through it sounds like, so. Thanks, Stacy, and I guess if there's nobody else really jumping in, we can move on to our activities director.
Alright, just a couple things on that side of things. Winter season's in full swing, obviously. Unfortunately, weather's already become an issue. We've postponed our first 3 home games of the season already, so hopefully those are all done, but it could be a long winter. We're postponing games in November and the beginning of January, but all of them are currently scheduled and postponed, got a schedule made up. We have Boys Road doubleheader on Friday, that's one of the rescheduled ones, so. I think later on in the board meeting, we have some resignations to approve, our volleyball coach resignations. I personally would like to thank Brittany and Sierra for all their years of dedication to the volleyball program and what they've done for our volleyball program. Cross-country discussion, I kinda just brought this up because it kinda got brought to our attention that while we have an assistant coach here that they weren't necessarily aware of, or they're not acknowledging the fact that we had a coach, and according to the agreement, which since I've been here, we've never met with them. So I kinda recommended to meet as a cross-country co-op with Mountain Lake and Comfrey. So I think we're gonna plan on doing that just to make sure we're all on the same page, cause I don't know the last time that the co-op met. So the plans are to meet there this summer. According to the co-op agreement, which I said I've never seen, is 2 paid coaches, but there's like 60 cross-country runners this year, so. And it came with a recommendation of their coach to get me on staff, so I'm not sure where the miscommunication went, so we'll get that squared away. So we've been paying Anita, but we can't reimburse it, and we send it to our reimbursements to them, so we'll get that squared away. As far as volleyball position goes, I'd like to post, anytime now, between now and the new year, try to form a committee of not just myself, but some coaches to go through the interview process, so we can have something in place by, plenty of time before the summer gets going, planning summer stuff, so. So a couple of Dean of Students items, I attended Inspiring Principal Conference in early November. There's another one in February and March, it's kind of a 3-part series, the first one was really good, up in cities, it's up at the Bethel College, I believe, where was that? And the other one is I'm a part of the Lake Conference. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's kind of a Redwood County. Each month we meet at one of the towns in the county and it's kind of a leadership we go through. In the morning, we go through a leadership topic. And in the afternoon, we kind of tour the local businesses. So November, we were in Lamberton, touring some of those towns. And so it's been really good. First 2 months were kind of about creating a positive culture in your workplace. And then last month was dealing with ethics and morals. And so just a good leadership group with, I think there's 23 of us in the cohort. So just kind of wanted to fill you in with that. So that's all I really have.
I like the topic, I hope you bring a lot back out of all of
Yeah, it's
that.
been good so far.
Are there any other comments or questions for Mr. Pat? I don't have any myself, so I don't know, we can move on to our superintendent and principal, Dr. Godfrey, so.
Yeah, sure, report this year. Mrs. Moe and I are working on a grant. It's a matching fund grant for summer school, ag summer school. Be about 40 hours, quarter credit for work-based learning. We're almost completed with that grant paperwork to submit to MDD, which is good because it's due Friday. But I brought her in, we talked about it, I wanted to make sure that she was on board with it first, and she's excited about that, and give some of our students an opportunity to participate in the summer. Possibly expand that and offer actual ag classes. I know that there are ag teachers that'll do summer ag classes with horticulture, or they'll do animal husbandry and then take animals to the fair, state fair, things like that. So it'd be nice to offer that in the future. We'll see how this goes first. Update old building closing, we know that's on the agenda for tonight. We'll discuss that a little bit more. Brought to my attention about the contingencies on there, but I did float those to Joe today and he's comfortable with all of it, just sent it to his attorney. Get a final word on that. I think most of the contingencies are really fulfilled. The one thing is the split of the building, but he has already called for a survey. The company that surveyed asked me if it was okay to release it to him, and I told him sure. So it should be a done deal, and he would like to close by the 15th, and closing will be, we close, and he's gonna close with the buyer of the old building. And then.
So just resell it all to Joe and then Joe turns around and resells it back right away, or is it,
Yep, so yes, the zoning split, 2 buildings.
okay,
He's gonna, once we sell them, after we close them, he's gonna turn around and close with the buyer of the old building.
okay.
Hopefully that same day as this plan. Just an update on legislative platform for my organization, MASSA. MASSA is Minnesota Association of School Administrators. We'll go to the bottom line here and look at what they're actually asking for. Extended compensatory hold harmless for your 2 years beyond its June 30th, 2026 expiration. What that means is since we went to universal free meals, we no longer, people are limited in filling out the free and reduced lunch forms. That's what we get our federal aid on. The federal aid for Title I comes to the state, then it's distributed to districts based on the free and reduced lunch population and the census of the community as well. We've been held harmless and kept at the same rate, regardless of we have a fluctuation, just because now they know that people aren't as readily completing those forms because everybody gets free and reduced lunch. So holding harmless means that we just stay at that same amount, so we get the same compensatory aid from the state. Maintain funding for special education cross-subsidy aid by repealing contingent $250 million reduction enacted in the 2025 session. So again, going back to the special ed cross-subsidy, the majority of special ed funding for our programs have come out of general funds. So we kind of have to commingle those funds. So special ed's never been fully funded, even though the promise has been there for forever. A few years ago, the amount of cross-subsidy increased from, I think it was 18% to 40%. So we got more funding directly for special ed from the state. They're talking about repealing that because, as you know, our state's going into a possible budget deficit crisis here. At least in 2027 is what they're saying. So that's to repeal that so we can continue the same amount. More money for physical school safety and expanding long-term facility maintenance to include the safety and security measures. Increase the local optional revenue, before I told you that's $742 per student, increase that to $979 per student. Maintain existing funding streams. Repeal or fully fund summer term unemployment insurance and paid leave. It's never been fully funded for its eternity. We're not quite sure how we're gonna pay for it beyond the fiscal year. So hopefully there's an extension or it's repealed. And then fully fund READ Act requirements, and there's a long list of those requirements. There is funding for it through literacy incentive aid, but a lot of it we have to do ourselves. And then you can see some minor things. Policy-wise, advance excellence and stability in education, read through that, but strengthening different things. And then expand teacher licensure and mobility, which is still kind of obscure to me why we have such a teacher shortage, but it still makes it difficult for teachers to get licensure, or at least these flexible licensures. So hopefully that changes and we get more people licensed to teach in the state of Minnesota, and we have a bigger pool to choose from when we have to hire. Any questions?
That would be, yeah, they're hoping that would improve next year here.
It would be next year, so if it, what typically happens if they repeal or they pass a statute, they give a start date or an end date.
It looks like be some good things that happen if it all comes through, but
It's tough because it's coming up on an election cycle, so you usually don't see much done budget-wise during election cycle.
So local, optional revenue to 979, what are we at right now?
742,
And that's what we're at as a district too?
yes,
So if that goes to that, then we just automatically go to the 979 then, if we so choose, or
if we choose. So that's board decision. So when we do our levy approval, that'll be in there. This is probably the third session in a row they've tried to do that, and it didn't pass, so. That's just what, and that's what MASSA MRE, the Rural Education Association, School Boards Association is gonna push for this, they have every year, it hasn't passed yet. And I think they're just gonna keep that. So the 742 has been in place for, I'm thinking, 10 to 15 years, and it's never been brought forward before, so.
and that one doesn't have to be voted on, that just, you can just do it.
that's our minimum, then it would be,
Okay.
what's the chances that that would go through, they feel?
I don't know, I think it's, I don't know, well, my dad says 6 of one, half dozen of the other. They've been trying for a few years, it hasn't been successful, but, you know, I think if you keep anything on the docket long enough, it'll probably pass.
Okay, so I have a question about the free and reduced forms. What are they intending to base funding off of if they're not gonna extend? Only the forms returned?
That's probably my guess. So there's two different ways to do it. There's direct certification, so we can direct certify students without.
Through other services, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
so if they receive Medicaid, Medicare, if there's anybody on the EBD cards, things like that.
Yeah.
But we know that doesn't capture everybody that qualifies, so that's the issue. Right now, when we look, we're about 45% free reduced lunch, so that's a pretty good chunk of money. Federal aid right now is, I wanna say 108,000 for title funds. That pays for a teacher, plus benefits, which helps us help those students that are struggling in reading and math. Without those funds, I don't know what we would do, and I don't know how they're gonna base it. A lot of other states this year have universal free meals on their dockets, so this might become a nationwide thing.
Do you think our numbers could get higher if we had everybody certified, you think our numbers higher than that?
It's possible, I don't know that we'll get any more funding, you know, I think we have to maintain that level. The 40% level, we'll get about the same amount, I don't know that we get anything, and we're not, I can't see us ever going way above that. And I don't think we'd ever get a huge increase in that fund. I think title funding is going to be cut and decreased over time.
That all comes in with the feds are cleaning the budgets too, and the state, our own state fiscal.
Yeah, so it goes to the state determines the allocations from there, and they have a formula for doing that. I've argued with them on a number of occasions that I didn't feel it was correct, but I didn't win on that argument, so.
Need a louder voice, but.
Prior to this, I was thinking of that proposal. Do you know when you sent that?
The proposal,
The building or the purchase agreement? Was that just last week?
I cannot remember. It's in there though,
It was in our work
Oh, it's in
session.
here.
yes.
Oh, it was at the work, it was in the work
Yes.
session.
How are you coming and getting the property out of the building that's left over there?
We haven't started yet. I mean, we'll get it done, it's just hoping that I have people, kids and hopefully teachers that help me. That's gonna be the only way to do it successfully. It's a
I think
tough
the other,
time-
the
tough
other
time to do
thing,
it right now, and it was so cold last week.
yeah, I think the other thing that's really important is before we bring anything, we need to know where it's going.
Yes,
So let's just not plop and pile and,
I hate to just put it somewhere, pile it.
I mean, even if it's temporary, has to be held somewhere, like, let's just work towards
yeah,
getting a permanent home for
one
those
thing we're gonna do
things.
is fill up that shipping container.
Oh, yeah, the
That's
shipping
fine.
container, yep,
That'll take quite a bit of it,
yeah,
and then bringing football equipment over so we know we have climate controlled.
yeah,
I have a pretty good idea about that, and I have to meet with Mr. Jennings, but
Yep.
I have an idea, I wanna see what his thoughts are on it though.
And if we don't have it all out by time of closing, they give us a what? Give us time after that, or they want it all out at closing?
I think we can negotiate that, I don't think there'll be a problem, because once the building is sold, all that will be in Michael Ellingson's property. But I've been pretty graceful to him, allowing him to do some cleaning up, that I don't think we're gonna have a problem with that. I don't think it'll take us that long to get out what we want out of there either,
yeah. There's just not that much left over there.
it's just, I can't do it by myself, I could do it by myself, but I don't think we have 2 or 3 years to wait.
Let us know how we can pitch in.
Yeah, whatever. Do you have options for any other containers or?
No, and I've talked to him, I think that if we want to, if we ever think about getting any more shipping containers, I think we buy them.
Yeah, so
So we can get them fairly reasonably priced.
you haven't heard back from him on any,
No, we talked 2 or 3 times and I haven't heard nothing back yet.
So the one we have now,
is a rental yet?
is a rental, what
Yes.
do we get charged on that?
Oh, I have,
Okay,
I don't know off the top of my head.
it's not much.
okay.
I know that we got back charged because the bills were going to the old address, so we didn't get them. So we had a back payment of like $600 for several months, so it can't be much. His
Who's
problem
that
is,
through?
Someplace in
Montevideo.
Montevideo.
So no, Home Alley's out of Bingham Lake carry them too. If the price is any different or not, but just other,
Yeah,
I
He
should
just
check.
he just
We're
rents
checking
too,
into.
so.
he actually can move them from one spot to another for you.
this guy can too.
Okay.
I think it's called Ultimate Containers out of Montevideo.
Ultimate, that's what it is, yeah. I think he just deals in rentals too, no sales. But he's willing to look at it, he said the thing is if he rotates this out of his inventory, he has to replace it.
So we should just get a price on maybe from this?
Just another tool in the toolbox if Tim needs another
Yep.
reference or an idea.
If-
So,
I've bought them before, I've actually bought several of them, so I have no concerns if we need to buy one.
Yeah,
This one, and he said he'll give us a reduced cost of what he would think for charging because we've leased it for so long.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, back to the contingencies and we'll talk about that, it's on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, do we have any other questions for Mr. Godfrey regarding his board for his report? Hearing none, I guess we could, move forward or review and approve our consent agenda, monthly bills, the minutes from our past meetings, November 19th and December 10th, work session. Contract approvals, if they're listed, but then our resignation to retirement for Brittany and Sierra, the volleyball coaches. We have a Motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Troy
Second.
and Jake. All in favor to approve our consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign, motion carried to approve the consent agenda and guess we'd like to say thanks for their service here and Brittany for their time with us as a co-head volleyball coach. We appreciate that, so just wanna say that quick. We'll move on to our recognitions for our donations. Whereas Minnesota State Statutes 123B.02 subdivision 6 provides the board may receive for the benefit of the district request donations or gifts for any purpose or any proper purpose and apply the same to the purpose designated. In that behalf, the board may act as a trustee of any trust created to provide pupils of the district with advanced education after completion of high school and the advancement of education. Whereas Minnesota Statutes 465.103 provides any city, county, school district, or town may accept a grant or devise of real or personal property and maintain such property for the benefits of its citizens in accordance with the terms prescribed by the donor. Nothing herein shall authorize such acceptance or use for religious or sectarian purposes. Every such acceptance shall be by resolution of the governing body adopted by a 2/3 majority of its members expressing such terms in full. And whereas every such acceptance shall be by resolution of the governing body adopted by a 2/3 majority of its members expressing such terms in full. Therefore, be it resolved that the school board of Red Rock Central School District 2884 gratefully accepts the following donations. We have Lamberton Commercial for $100 for the art department club.
Lamberton Commercial Club.
Okay, oh, Lamberton Commercial Club, then it's, it was stacked, so it's hard to read.
It doesn't print out quite the
No.
same as it looks on the screen.
Then our retired Red Rock Central teachers for $550 for library books in memory of Linda Riley. It looks like that was only two that we have listed for donation. I guess we have a motion to accept the donations.
I'll make a motion.
Megan? Do we have a second?
Second that.
And we'll accept by resolution.
Erickson, yes.
Grant, yes.
Imker, yes.
Keel, yes.
Wall, yes.
Erickson, yes.
Warner, yes.
Vote on adoption of the resolution was all in favor, whereupon said resolution was declared duly adopted. We thank you all for the donation, and we put it to good use. We can move on to our, we don't have any old business listed. We can move on to the new business for approved final levy.
These final levy dollar amounts that the board approved, actually in the preliminary approval in September, same numbers. Just up for final vote.
So if there's any other questions, we have a motion to approve our final levy.
I'll make a motion.
Brian. We have a second to approve our final levy for 25-26.
I'll second it.
Troy. We all in favor to approve our final levy, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries to approve our final levy. We'll move on to our next item of new business would be approve old building purchase agreement, and that was the agreement is listed with our agenda packet.
This has been vetted through our attorney.
Mhm.
Some change the closing date to January 31st, thought that was more realistic. I think the one thing that was in question when we get down to the bottom here are contingencies. I just walk through what I discussed with Joe. Property's zoning classification allows for the school grounds to be used as a bus garage. I told him it's always been used as a bus garage.
Mm-hmm.
He felt comfortable that it was zoned. City of Lamberton's approval of the buyer's proposed lot split, that's where the survey was conducted, he's just waiting on that. Existing school building, excluding the shop, shall be winterized and utility meters removed, took care of utilities, I told him it's been that way for, went through all last winter and the condition it's in, so it should be considered winterized, he agreed on that. And this last one's buyer sale of a portion of the property to Michael Ungson on the same day as buyer's purchase from the seller, so that's,
Between him and,
yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty, that's,
so then will he remove all of these contingencies, or we're just gonna, from the purchase agreement?
I don't know that, I don't know that he will. I know what you're talking about, usually you remove them once it's been met.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they need to be removed because they have been met.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything back on, sounds like he's all good with everything, the property, and gonna be flexible,
Yes.
and to be clear, yeah, like you said before, the outbuildings are fine to stay there until they're ready to be moved.
Yep, he said as long as we meet the time.
Is there any more discussion needed for our old building purchase agreement, or?
I think he's getting a good deal and we're getting rid of it, so.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kinda getting a good deal too.
He's getting a really good deal.
I think it's a win, myself, I think it's a win-win, we can get rid of the
Yeah, oh, I
liability.
agree with you.
Might not find anybody else.
Would we have a motion to approve our old building purchase agreement?
So move.
Motion by Bruce, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Jake. Before we move on, is there any other questions or comments, discussion regarding the old building? Hearing none, I guess all in favor to approve our old building purchase agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries to approve our old building purchase agreement and move forward with that. We'll carry on to our comprehensive achievement and civic readiness report, the CR.
So this is, just for the board's information, this used to be called the world's best workforce, I'm sure you remember in the past having reviewed one of those, world's best workforce. Okay, so they've changed it to the civics readiness, and you can see a lot of the goals are still the same, actually they're very much the same. You can just take a look through there, those are the goals that were presented this year. It's also submitted differently, now it's submitted through our consolidated application, which is our title app. So in the title application where we submit every year to get our funding from the federal government. Through the state, we have to list goals, and those goals now are the CRC.
Scrolling through it's attached to the agenda, so it's got a short, sweet report. Read that goal. I don't know if you need to, I guess everybody can read it and see it. I guess you got it up on the screen too, so. Is there any other questions regarding the CACR report? Do we have a motion to accept the comprehensive achievement civic readiness report?
So moved.
Motion by Troy,
I'll second it.
and Brian. Do we have any other questions or discussion regarding this? Hearing none, all in favor to accept our comprehensive achievement and civic readiness report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign, motion carried to accept our comprehensive Achievement and Civic Readiness Report. I guess that was the final of our open session, and our next agenda item would be for our closed session, Minnesota statute.
Can we go back to old business? Or not?
It should be added in when we do approval of the agenda. But you can ask for a motion to do something, I guess.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, we have a motion to carry in an old business item,
I'll second.
second by Megan. All in favor, you guys all in favor of old business item?
Aye.
Opposed? Same time, we'll bring that in.
Just wondering from the work session, we didn't have anything on here for the third coach possibly.
Correct.
Is that
I know we did,
happening or?
That was going to be added during the
we
agenda approval.
we discussed it, but then, yeah, I guess we'll see what we had, I guess, was there, maybe we should discuss that, whether it's, maybe it'd be best for you to explain the process before, would that be fair?
The process.
Like, instead of just, cause right now we have a volunteer, that we just can't, for the process, we just can't add her as a paid coach, correct? You have,
Right, we would have to post it.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sure she'd be one of the applicants for it. And then just go through the process, what we typically do in a hiring process. But basically, we would be adding another coach to
a third wrestling coach.
Correct. Assistant coach.
I thought we left the work session that we were gonna look at putting a document together, do some research amongst other schools on actually what the number situation is with numbers and dictating the amount of coaches.
Yeah, we can discuss that too.
Okay.
I don't know if we move forward to hire them, I guess, how far in will we be able to utilize? We'd be able to utilize the coach this year, I mean, if it was paid, if we approved everything as far
as utilizing, the coaches utilize whether they're volunteer or paid, they're approved as a volunteer coach, that paying her doesn't give her more coaching rights, she can still coach, whether she's paid or not, but paying her is not gonna allow her to sit on the mat, I mean, she can already do that as a volunteer coach.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a matter of if you guys are gonna pay her or not, that's just basically what it comes down to.
What we're gonna look into, what we'd, get a recommendation, what we think each sport should have for total coaches.
I thought that's how we left the work
Do it
session.
all, do it all at one time, so we're not backtracking or subtracting at one time.
Yeah, that was
I think
kind of
the
my thought process.
Final recommendation for all the sports at one time.
Well, I think we would need to do that through the negotiations process. Because it is, extracurricular schedule falls under the teacher contract.
Okay,
It doesn't stipulate how many coaches per, it stipulates head coaches, doesn't stipulate how many assistant coaches, just says assistant coaches. So the board can make a decision on how many they want, but if we want a specific number per sport, I think we'd have to do that through a negotiation process with
okay.
our CEA. I think that would be the appropriate way to do it. So if you wanna set a set number in the contract, we'd have to do that through negotiations.
And I don't know that it should be a
No.
set number, I think it's more of just a general, I don't know what's appropriate or needed, for every,
Right, I think I'm just giving my honest opinion, I think when we look at numbers, if we look specifically at numbers, I think we probably, wrestling coaching wise, we probably have enough coaches, but we do have 3 coaches. And I think that volunteer coach is integral to the program. Now looking at the specific unique needs that we have, the girls program, and I was talking to one of our girl wrestlers yesterday, I think, and talked about how, because they had to go to a boys meet, she had to wrestle boys, there were no girls there. Which, I mean, I've seen girl wrestlers kick boys' butts, but I don't know if it was necessarily fair to her. Whereas if we had a coach that could take her somewhere, she could have probably had better competition. So I think we need to look at the numbers and unique needs built into the program as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't wanna get into a situation where it's strictly based on numbers, like, so I don't know that it's, I don't know if a document is useful or not, or just gives a general guideline for what would be acceptable.
I guess the thing, we have to feel if there's a need for the third paid coach this year, in which I think it's a toss up. I'm kind of either way myself, but I think that's where we gotta look at what the true benefit is for the students or the athletes too, that are, if there's a true benefit to be utilized, is that the fairest way to look at it?
We have to keep it fair and consistent too. So if we're gonna do it and justify it with opportunities for kids, then we better be prepared to pay a volunteer coach for track.
I don't think we would call it a volunteer coach anymore though.
It wouldn't be, but I'm just saying, the same argument was made last year for a volunteer to be paid, add an additional track coach. For a very similar argument.
Yeah.
So we need to be prepared to pay for that then too.
I agree, and I can see both sides of it. We're looking at a financial issue
Yeah,
on one hand, and then needs for the students on the other hand. I think you gotta just weigh that out. Yeah, I don't wanna give my exact opinion on it, but I look at it as we have 3 coaches there now. The only difference is one of them actually being an official assistant coach rather than volunteer, and I think the utilization of that third coach, even though she's a volunteer, is probably integral to the program running, you know, as effectively as it is, or proficiently at least. But then there's a cost at the same time.
yeah. And you could argue that's very nominal. I mean, it's small,
Right.
but that cost will also be there in the spring then too.
Only thing I would say would be if we would go there, I'm mixed, I'm pulling both ways.
Yeah.
Is it's more so that you could send the girls to their girls competition.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just you get 3 coaches, you're also like almost splitting into 2 sports. A girls sports and a boys sport. And that's, if I was to vote, I would vote yes, that'd be the reason I would vote yes, was because it's like 2 sports.
Yeah.
Like girls basketball, boys basketball,
Mm-hmm.
girls wrestling, boys wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only gonna grow.
It's more of a sport.
I know, yeah.
With track, you already got the coaches, so I'm not saying, I'm just using that for,
It's different events, it's different meet, actually, it's very like, they were arguing because they had junior high kids that needed to be monitored at a junior high meet, so it was different meets.
Right, they'll have their chance to come to us if they want to. Right now, it's just wrestling that's asking.
They don't need to come to us. If we're gonna do it, we need to be fair and consistent.
But, are we gonna hinder any girls from wanting to go out? We don't do it either?
I think
We're
she's
trying to
gonna
build
be
it.
there, she can be there regardless whether we pay her or they pay her, so. Is my thought.
We have to post the position,
Yeah.
and the most qualified person will get the job, not, and we just can't
Right, I know what you're saying.
make assumptions that it's, you know,
Somebody, anybody.
Right.
There'll be 3 of them, regardless whether we pay them or they pay them.
Yeah, I wouldn't look at it as our current volunteer coach. I would look at it as a position, creating the position.
right,
I mean, she may be the person who's hired for that position very well. But
Right.
But we still have to go through the process.
So do we have
I'd rather have this conversation before we get into the sport too versus fall into the sport. For the needs, or have a plan in place ahead of time versus.
yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a bummer, to be frank, because we're partway through the season. How many events are left? Like, where they could enroll in or whatever, like
I mean,
opt in?
I think we have 3 girl-only events scheduled, 3 or 4 girl events scheduled. One of them has already happened, 2 of them, well, there's a girl event last Saturday, so two girl tournaments have happened. There's 1 girl tournament Friday or Saturday's the girls? Friday. This Friday is the girls and the boys go on our team goes on Saturday, which girls can participate in that too. But Friday's the girls only. And then January 3rd, I believe, there's a girls only tournament, so there's probably 2 or 3 tournaments left of girl only tournaments.
That they cannot
And
attend
then,
if we don't
the
pay another
individual
coach.
girls tournament, there's an individual girls tournament as well, so.
But they cannot attend those unless we pay another coach.
No, well, they would, I mean, yeah, they'll still go, and a volunteer coach can take them. It's not like we're breaking any laws, a volunteer coach can take our girls to these events. It just simply falls down to whether you wanna pay this coach or not. I think whether or not that coach has taken them or would take them, I don't know that answer, that'd have to be a question for the.
Really, as soon as the hire would be approved, it'd be January, correct? Unless there's a special meeting, but
Well, it's on the agenda now for old business, I mean, you could approve it tonight.
then they'd have to bring us, but we'd have to, the motion would be to,
Should have posted.
so it'd be self to post it.
Yep, post it, go through the hiring process, but that coach could start before the board approves the final contract, 'cause
Okay.
the difference between hiring a teacher, you're gonna hire a teacher in a specific step or lane. This is already set. So, I mean, the price you're gonna pay is already set. It's a percentage, and that's outlined in the contract already.
I'm just gonna be really honest, I have a little bit of a hard time hiring an additional coach right now to see us through the season when we are struggling to pay for things. And I understand it's not that much money, but if we're gonna tighten our belts, are we not gonna tighten our belts?
I think it worked good the way they did it last year. It cost the wrestling club a little money, but she got paid and she was there all year. She's been there so far this year.
And I am balancing that against opportunity, but if the opportunity is still there,
I think what we have to take into consideration whenever we make a decision as a board is what's in the best interest of kids.
yeah,
I mean, it all boils down to that, what's in the best interest of the kids we serve. And just use that to guide your decision.
I feel if you look at it that way, then. yeah,
exactly.
Then you need, probably should.
And then we open it up for other sports, that's, you know, the other sports that say we need another
Well,
page.
this is just where it gets really gray.
That's the part I
because-
struggle with.
I mean, you could have 60 athletes and argue that that would require, 6 coaches.
But we have other volunteer coaches at other sports, so does that mean they're gonna be, us to be paying their volunteers there also?
Well, the
So-
request has already been made for one other sport, and we said no to that as well.
But who's to say there's not more sports?
Yeah,
I mean, that's, not knowing the exposure is, I struggle with too.
I think that's the difference here too, it's, we're recognizing if there's a need for an actual third coach instead of a volunteer too, so that's. Like, I see what you mean where some might say, well, there's a need, instead of a volunteer, we need more than just a volunteer, you can see that, I can see your point there, that it's gonna be deeper.
We set precedents, is kind of where I'm going, we don't wanna, be very consistent, but I also wanna set a precedence either. I'm just looking at all avenues here.
I think you can justify that there's a need for a third coach for wrestling. Only because they've had a third coach for wrestling for some time. They have boys and girls wrestling. I mean, they have a third coach, even though that person's a volunteer, but they have a third coach because there's a need for that third coach. I think it's just a matter, really, the board's decision, based on funding. I don't think you can deny that there's a need for that third person, because they've had that third person, that's been extremely beneficial to them. And it's just a matter of determining if there's a need for a paid assistant coach, another paid assistant coach position for wrestling. Again, I think the need's been shown. It's been proven that it is a need. It's a matter of determining if the board willing for the district to pay for that person.
Well, to me, the fact that they're allowing boys and girls to wrestle each other is sort of mind-boggling. I mean, that's not allowed.
In football
And
it
that
is.
is-
I wrestled in junior high.
Yeah, it's allowed in almost every sport.
Every
actually.
sport,
For
yeah.
Title IX.
You'll notice on the state high school league, it's not boys football, it's football. Girls-
It's 9-person
It's
football.
9-player football, it's
I
not
wrestled in
9-man
junior
football
high way
anymore.
back when, and we had a girl on our wrestling team. I wouldn't wrestle like this, but
My old school had a girl that made the state tournament before there was girls wrestling, so it's happened for quite a
Really?
while, yeah.
it's
She was
just
the
now
first, she was the
sanctioned
first ever.
as that. But
Yeah.
But then like, okay, say we're gonna end up paying her, then you say these next couple months, money is supposed to get tight. Like, how tight is the money gonna get?
That is the rock in the hard place for me, period. I understand both sides of the argument, it's just the finances and then knowing what's coming in addition. Because the ask is not singular, it's not.
Right.
Whether they're here asking or not.
I'd like to wait 1 year, get this open ed going, so we get some extra funding, so maybe potentially if that turns out, we get some more funds down the road. Not take it out of our current shortfall. So I'm pulling both ways right now.
I mean, we're literally telling our teachers, work without, don't order things, go without Amazon, I mean, how can you, I don't know. I get it, and I
The same
do.
spot, on one hand I want it, the other hand, it's
Me
like
too.
we've tightened the belt, and
Me
so
too.
it's hard to say yes when we've tightened it down.
I think we
So-
wait a year, see if there's 10 girls out next year, before season, do this.
And have them come and let's talk about it in the front side of the season next year and see what our enrollment is. I don't wanna just say, if we say no, I'd like to revisit again next year
For sure.
at that point.
And I mean, by not approving this, does this hinder any of the girls or any of the wrestlers?
No.
And I'll just say, it's really hard in speaking for Clayton to say, let's wait till next year to see if we have 10 girls out, because a lot of times you don't know how many kids are actually going out for a sport until
Until you get
the
the
day of
first
the
day.
event.
Yeah,
I mean, 7 kids might come to the meeting 2 weeks forward, but by the time there's actual board meeting after the season starts, now we're in the same boat, cause we were talking about this last year, and let's wait till this year, and now so I'm kinda speaking in defense of Clayton, like, we talked about it last year. And so, there's more kids out this year than last year, so, in that defense of
To
waiting.
speak out of turn, we didn't have a board meeting about how many football coaches there were, how many volleyball coaches there were. Right, I mean, we cut a wrestling coach last year. All I was asking for is a wrestling coach back.
That's what we can put a motion put it to a vote and motion to post and hire a third paid wrestling coach. We have a motion to post and hire a third wrestling coach. I guess I can move to make a motion to put it to a vote, motion to post and hire a third paid wrestling coach. I'll make a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Alright, is there any other discussion or comments regarding this? Other than that, all in favor to post and hire a third wrestling coach, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
1, 2. Opposed?
I,
I'll do a roll call then.
Oh, roll call. Is it, do you wanna start?
I vote yeah.
Grant, yes.
Imker, no.
Keel, yes.
Oh, yes.
Erickson, no.
Warner, no.
Maybe motion carries and if I caught up to my. Motion carries, move forward and post and hire a third paid wrestling coach. If I did my counting correct, so. so we can move on with, I guess, yeah, then that'll get posted and I guess whoever does that, would that be,
We'll get it posted.
okay,
What kind of timeframe does it take to get someone hired? Or what's the
I'm an
process?
assistant coach, it'll be posted until filled. I
Okay,
mean, at the middle of the season, you're not gonna have other applicants than the ones that are already in the building, let's be honest.
I didn't know if I kept it open for so long or what the protocol is or.
I would say with those positions, with assistant coach positions and junior high positions, they're basically open until someone says they'll breathe and step in there, so. Head coaches are a
Sometimes
little
that
different,
person is our AD.
yeah. So yeah, I'll post it and move forward. I'll talk to the wrestling coaches for recommendations and we'll go from there.
that works. All right. Now we close our wrestling coach business, so we can move back forward to our closed session.
Is there anything else in the old gym?
Okay. Thanks, Nate. And we can move forward with our closed session with Minnesota State Statute 13D.03, 13D.05, subdivision 3 for the purpose of superintendent's evaluation. We'll move into,
Have to do motion.
do we have a motion to move into closed session?
I'll make a motion.
Brian? Do we have a second?
Second.
Troy? Okay, all in favor to move into closed session, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carried, move into closed session. It's right at 7:30.
Excuse me?
Let's get the door for you.
Make sure we go to pull the plug.